to week 3, decoding your content. So this is basically a content marketing 101 module today. And content marketing, I guess when it comes to digital marketing and when it comes to social media marketing, I cannot teach either of those, or either of those won't work effectively if we don't align them with a solid content strategy. The content that we're sharing here is the glue, it's the wheels, it's the foundation of making all of this work. So what we want to discover today in our time together is looking at content as the ability to be able to connect to people, to interact with them in a way that leaves them better than we found them, and help them to get to where they would like to go. Oh, guys, I think, wait. Silly. No. This is not, let me just get to, I think I've got, let me just see where, that's not, that was last week. God, I'm thinking, this is deja vu. This is not the slide. This is not the work I prepared. Here we go. Apologies about that. Think quick. Yeah, it was like, wait, I've said this before. Here we are. This is decoding content. This is what I've added in here for this week for everybody is just with your control panel. Now the 3 of you or 4 of you that are online for the live training today, you've been here before, you know the deal, but I guess I just had this prepared for anyone that hasn't come to the live training yet to know what you're looking out for. So use hands for unmuting. Everybody can hear me, and also this is your question panel. This is the one, unfortunately, you can't all see your panel, but I can see this continuously. I want to be interrupted with questions and your engaging insights or your thoughts or your experiences. So I will keep looking at that, okay, with your questions and your panel. So this looks better. This is what we're going to cover. Understanding the importance of developing valuable content that you are creating yourself or that you are curating and sharing someone else's original content. Discover the types of content that we create. That is the second element or a big key goal that I have for this training. And most importantly, developing a plan around your content. Now, the last training that we have in this series will be around strategy, but you will appreciate even when we talk about communication, even when we talk about social media, everything needs its own separate plan for us as small businesses to effectively execute it. So with this, we will devise, and I will share some templates with you with a follow-up as to how you can start to now think of yourselves as your own media, as your own editorial managers and content creators, and align that into a schedule and into a plan. Because if you can attest to this, I know certainly for me and my business, if it's not within a well thought out plan and a framework, it's just not going to get done. So the more we schedule, the more we give ourselves a chance of success that it will get done. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Kicking off with a quote. Instead of communicating through someone else's channel, we create and distribute our own amazing information and building audiences. That's effectively, encapsulates. Joe Paluzzi is the founder of the Content Marketing Institute who wrote this, and I've read his book. It's fantastic, Content Inc. And he really put content marketing on the map as the new way forward for marketing, and certainly it's something I truly believe as well, and I would like to share more insights around this. So this is, instead of communicating through other mediums and other channels, this is our opportunity, remember, to create the magic that only we can create, and take that and create our own channel, our own distribution, our own voice, and create our own media. So in the module 3, week 3 of Decoding Digital Marketing, what we will cover in the 3 lessons I've prepared is understanding content marketing, rebooting your strategy, and tools you will need to win. So some tools that I use religiously, daily, that I want to share with you that will really help with your time and tool management, and also when you are limited in your budget. And most of us that are on the call now know, for you, Joe, not for profit, we've got small businesses, we all would love more money and more time to effectively execute better marketing. When we don't have an infinite pool of funds and resources to outsource this activity, we've got to get smarter with our planning, and also with the tools that we use. So I'll share some insights around that. I guess before we kick off, when I talk about strategy, do any of you that are on the live training with me today, do you have a somewhat of a content marketing plan for your website or your social media at the moment? Sadly, no, says Narita. That's okay. No, Joe, that's what we're here for. You know, I didn't for a long time as well. And to be honest with you, I've let you guys know I've only just recently launched my website, and this is something that I'm really refining and it's a work in progress. So my strategy, I've got my big, hairy, audacious, big picture that I want to achieve with my website, but I also appreciate and understand that I need and I must work with the resources that I have available to me. And at the moment, the buck stops with yours truly and me, myself and I. So I have to get really creative in what I take on and what I'm committing to. So, and that's something I'm going to share everything with you. But the last thing we want to do is be overwhelmed by it. We want to support and champion you to start with the one thing that we can do, as opposed to all the things that we can't do. I want you to really look at this as, for all the things that will be presented, what is the one thing I can take away from here that I can put into my magic and my gift of what I do really well in and what I rock at, and that I can start getting into creation and creating. So understanding marketing, we have to look at this as your website is your art. Your website is your infinite possibility. Your websites are scalable. Your website you're essential to be able to virtually create something that exists out there when you can't physically be able to face-to-face or physically get people through the door or physically speak to. So your website is your art that we need to really fine-tune and continuously improve to attract that ideal digital visitor that will turn into your ideal virtual visitor. Okay, so as we track along, So your website, your art is your endless opportunity. What content is not, and this is a very important point to make, that what content is not is advertising, okay? Content is the sweet spot. Content is the sweet spot between your intellectual power, your knowledge, your skill, your passion, your that thing, that gift that only you have, that you're talking about, that I share with you. It's what you have, meeting the passion and your customers' pain points that they need. The sweet spot in the middle is what we want to create. Don't you just love that? So your knowledge, your skill, your experience, your message, your voice, and then what we have matching over, your clients, your visitors, your digital and virtual and physical visitor, their passion and their pain point and their problem and their challenge. When these two meet, that's the sweet spot in the middle of what content is. It inspires, it connects these two, it empowers these two, and most importantly, this is where we all come into the business of education. Now marketing, more and more, just as I do now, I'm more and more I am in the business of teaching, and so are you. We need to be able to inspire and connect and empower our audiences and our visitors to our why and our purpose and why we do what we do and why it's important for them to experience what we do, because it's the only way that because the way we do it is the only way that it's done, the way that is connected to our core purpose is to educate. So take that leading role, that ambassador role of saying, well, I am not just a manager, I'm not just the boss, I'm not just the marketing coordinator. I am, it is within me and it is part of my responsibility to educate my people and my audience, the community that I'm building, the tribe that I'm building for my own business, and must take that leading role in educating them on, remember that sweet spot, on why this is important for them to experience, to do, to buy, to use, okay? When we use the word media in any, whether it's your website or your social media, now we can build our audiences or we can buy them. Now I come from the school of building these communities. Now I always, my background has always been in small business. I have always had to be very resourceful with our budgets, with our time and with our skill sets. Now when we don't have the budgets to do Google advertising to attract visitors to our websites, when we don't have the budgets to do social media campaigns to buy the followers, we must take the opportunity and the patience and the consistency to execute well thought out plans to build these organically. Okay, it still can be done. We don't have to pay for everything. I'm certainly doing this now for 3 years myself. This is something I've invested every day in building phase. Now, there's a space for buying, and I'm not saying, don't go and buy Facebook ads and don't do, of course, these are the biggest organizations in the world because they add value to businesses when we buy this type of media. Certainly where I'm going to focus our attention today is what you can do to build this through your intellectual assets. Okay? How are we going so far? All sounding good? So far so good? Give me a yes. Keep going. Give me something. Give me a thumbs up or a hands up. Just checking in. Awesome. All I need is one yes. Thank you, Joe. Now, when we think about what media companies do, so when we look at what the big boys that have the lots of money and the resources and the departments or the agencies that can work on their behalf, what they do that we tend to neglect as small businesses that we don't do when it comes to content marketing is actually creating a content mission statement. So if I pledge and I make a commitment to do this long term and really give this a red hot go, what is my mission here? What's my mission around writing a regular blog post? What's my mission around creating a weekly video that I'm going to share onto my YouTube channel? What's my mission around creating an ebook that is going to add value to my customers? Okay, so let's think about our content marketing mission statement. What this includes, number one, is your core target audience, who this is written for, shot for, created for. So who is the core target audience that this will be produced and created for? What will be delivered? What will we serve up? Destination information, how-to information, list, top 10, top 3. What will be delivered? And more importantly, what is the outcome for the audience? What is in it for them? Okay, here's an example of Indian Corp blog. This is an engineering firm. Okay, so this engineering firm, so the I wanted to share this with you, and this is something that Joe Paluzzi shared in a training recently, and I thought, what a fantastic example. Here's an engineering firm taking the time to blog and share valuable content to their audience. And here is their mission statement. Help engineers answer the most challenging industrial solder questions. Easy, simple. They've produced this blog that they have commit to, and they regularly create the blog content with one mission in mind. Help, the who is the engineers, the what is answer the most challenging industrial solder questions. So it's so specific that how much easier will that make your life if you created a content mission statement that every time you've set yourself the task, whether it's weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever it is that makes sense for you, that you will be able to refer back to say, this is why I'm doing this, because I want to help, because I want to serve, because I want to solve. Okay? This is something that for myself, there's nothing that I don't teach, there's nothing that I don't share that I haven't done myself. So for me, my mission statement is a welcome statement, welcome to instituteofexcellence.com, a website with simple tools, simple tips, tools and strategy to help the small business owner and marketer get the most out of their marketing. So I'm saying who my people are, what I do, and what's in it for you. What's in it for you is that I want you to get the most out of your marketing. Okay, just something short, sweet, that's going to keep me accountable, because if I get too overcomplicated, I have to always come back to, is this simple, and will this help a small business bring out the best in their marketing? If I get no's, then I need to rework my content. Okay, so I would like this. Again, we don't have the time together today, but certainly as part of your homework, and I love and appreciate those of you that have been keeping up with taking the time to do this in between our sessions and our weeks together. I want you to go ahead, with that very simple formula, think, what is my core mission statement? Sorry, I'm making everyone dizzy here. So what is your core mission statement? When you now, hopefully you've defined your audience, or you can take your time to do that again here. What you deliver and what's in it for them. What's in it for there. Who, what, and why is this benefiting your audience? Okay. Yes. Good. Checking in. So the content must be relevant, it must be timely, it must be consistent. So I've underlined consistent because that's what will make the content cherry pop. Consistency. I'm keeping myself accountable to one thing every week. I missed last week and it has killed my heart that I missed it. My business is important, my audience is so important, yet I've left myself in a very vulnerable position of an unforeseen circumstance coming in and wiping things out, turning my life 360, and it didn't get done. So as part of my moving forward now, I need to rework my strategy, and this is where I share with you. I'm in the same boat here. So because I missed last week, I said I never want that to happen again. So what I must keep accountable to myself now is always having being 2 weeks ahead minimum. So I always want to be 2 weeks ahead in my content to allow for that grace period of the unforeseen circumstance that you have a child that needs to be hospitalized for pneumonia. True story. So although that happened, we cannot leave ourselves in these vulnerable situations, especially when we're working alone. We want to kind of have our own back. The way I've seen this is that I can have my own back is by being more diligent in my planning. I hope that helps to keep consistent, because you miss 1 week, you're going to easily excuse yourself to miss another week, and before you know it, the week here and there turns into a month, and then 3 months, a year, 2 years passes and you haven't written anything. I just saw it the other day and I should have taken a screenshot. I saw a blog that directly spoke to the problem that I was seeking, okay? I found a blog. It was the perfect answer to my question, okay? I found it, but then I looked, and the last article was December 2015. So it's just like life got in the way, and they served up all this amazing content and then just stopped. So I want for you guys to make a minimum 6-month commitment to whatever it is that you will commit to producing after today. I never know what to create. So here I've given you a whole heap of different ideas. I never know what to create. You can create something around your location. You can create something around your story. You can create something around interesting blogs or articles from others. So you would never copy something from someone else, but certainly go and have a search, and if there's something that's inspired you, put your own spin on it and share. There's nothing to stop you from copying and pasting something from another blog, or actually physically saying, I just read, hyperlink to that article, and I'm inspired to extend my own insights around this topic. Does that make sense, guys? So search for inspiration. Never copy and plagiarize. If you are inspired something and you want to share it, it's so good that you want to put it in front of your audience, do so. Just credit back. I've done the same thing. I've found articles online and I've said to the author, I've reached out to them and said, do you mind if I repurpose this on my blog? And basically all I'm doing is saying, repurpose. I will copy what you've put on your blog, I will copy and paste it onto my blog, and with a credit back to your website, a credit back to your contact page, a credit back to say this was originally written for, and then I would put the business name and the website. Make sense? We want to be completely transparent when we're inspired by someone's work. We want to reach out to them and let them know there's nothing more humbling and really an act of appreciation to someone, because this stuff takes a little bit of time. So if you found something valuable, what a great way to build a relationship and create, remember we talked about smart collaborations. So that's where I'm heading with that. Collaborative, something around a promotion, seasonal, definitely a blog post, customer success stories. Now, all of these things are different themes that you can work with and you can play with. Special events and occasions, seasons. So now we've come into winter. There is so much you can write around winter. So I've done this myself. I've got one in the can for winter around planting seeds. What do you want to harvest in 6 months' time? Okay, so I've done blogs like that before. I've got one in the can that I'm starting to work on now for end of financial year, because that is something significant. I serve businesses. So what's a theme and a special event that's happening for my market? Oh my God, it's prep for end of financial year. This is like in business world, this is like a new year and a new beginning. So we'll definitely be creating some content around that. So hope this, when you have some content creative block, this is just some brainstorming that you can come back and refer to. So rebooting your strategy. Any questions, comments, insights around what we just shared in that little intro to get your content juices flowing? Now, for those of you that are watching the replay of this, you know to never hesitate to reach out also just via email or my socials is not a problem. So let's have a look at the different types of content. We've spoken about different themes. Let's have a look at the different types. So the first most obvious is a blog. Okay, so this is a hostel. They create a regular blog, and it can be done in many different ways. So here they've actually called it, they've branded their blog it's called Habitat HQ, and they've called it Habi Chat, and I liked that. So it doesn't always have to be called blog, and I say that with a little asterisk of just be aware that blog is what people are very familiar with. It works. Don't get too creative, but certainly something like this, it's a lovely little spin on a blog. So blog, totally, I've used blog. I tried to get fancy until I went, you know what, you're just complicating something that doesn't need to be complicated. People know what to look for in articles if they're looking for blog. But I just wanted to show this. It could be news. It doesn't, you know, if blog overwhelms you that in writing, it can be just a news section in your website that you can go and repurpose what's happening in your backyard, in your industry, or that's specific to you that you can repurpose. Another very, very important type of content, and this I would encourage you to have its own strategy as well, is video. So particularly with something like Facebook now and YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine, but certainly Facebook has come to the party with its own video channel. So anytime you upload a video, any type of video content on your Facebook page, it is automatically populated into your video channel. So I want to put video on the radar for you guys, particularly on social media, particularly something, again, it can be repurposed. So you can do a video once, you put it on your Facebook, it ticks your social box, you can put it on your YouTube channel, it creates a YouTube, then now you can be searched via video. It's then when you've created a video on your YouTube, there's a piece of content you can embed on your website. Remember the user experience with your website. Having a video in there can really take it next level. So video is a type of content. Infographic. So if you have any stats, facts, if you go, and I'll share, running a survey with your customers about what people love about your destination or your product, or for you to read it. You do walking tours. You could do a whole infographic on the benefits of walking tours, how much you save the environment in emissions. You could do an infographic around this is why we do what we do, just to get you thinking that if you've got any stats, an infographic is a lovely way to present that. And I'll share a tool with you that you can do that. Guides. So this is something that I've got Tourism Australia website here. So top 10 things to do in Melbourne. Okay, they've gone out there. They've not only done a blog post that is going to be of value to a visitor to Australia, it's also great because here you can create some smart collaborations as well and hyperlink other businesses. So what's a top 10 thing to do? Now, if I have a business in Melbourne, regardless of any industry that I'm in, this would be a relevant article. If you've got a business that's located in the centre of the CBD, what a great thing, something quirky to say top 10 coffee cafes that we love. You get the picture. There's no limit to your creativity here about what you write about. But articles and pieces like this do really, really well in any forum, because remember we talked about the educator hat on, and remember we talked about taking that leadership role. Now, I know there's some of you that are in this training that are not tourism specific, but I want you to really think about your industry and think about we as a collective, and think, okay, I am an extension of these, whether it's whatever the governing body of your organization is, and take that liberty to be able to say, well, I'm going to share my insights on the top thing. I'm a small tourism business in Melbourne. I'm not Tourism Australia, but I would have a completely different top 10 things to do here, because I have experienced different things and I know a different set of people and stories that I would like to get out there. I hope that makes sense to everyone, and you might be a little inspired to do your own top 10. Product reviews. What a fantastic way to collaborate. Take that top 10 piece to a whole nother level. So if you had a top 10 piece, for example, you could go and experience all of those top 10 things yourself and do a product review. So here's a blog post that's called Eat, Play, Love, Travel. Now this is just an independent blogger that's gone and had a day out in St Kilda, a seaside suburb here in Melbourne, and they've said 7 things to do. I just want to plant the seed that you don't have to be a blogger with 10,000 followers on Instagram for you to do this yourself. You can then give yourself the opportunity to create something of valuable content that is not going against what you do, only complements what you do. So it's this ecology. It's something that is good for you as a business. It's good for a business that you're collaborating with, and it's good for the greater good of the unique and ideal digital visitor that you are attracting to your website. Okay. How-to articles. So here, tips how to book a hotel room. Now, if you're an accommodation provider, I would take so much inspiration from this, because if you do something really different and you provide a solution that no one else does, what a clever way to put an article or a blog post of how to find the ideal hotel in X, enter your destination. Okay, because then you can say things like, 360-degree view. Ensure you have a room with 360-degree views, because you know you have that, but you certainly, so it makes it so you can play with this and just think creatively about how you can do some how-tos, how to pick. For me, I could look at this and say how to choose the digital marketing course for you, and then I could do things like, I can still learn even if I can't make the live training. So that is something that I know is unique to what I've done here with this course, that would feature or promote the benefit of what I do in an indirect way. So I'm being helpful, but also serving up the solution at the end as the call to action. And that's very important when we're taking the time to do these things, that we align it to a call to action. Lists sell. So I've put this up as magazines, and editors around the world are always using lists, and I want you to pay attention. From this day forward, always be paying attention of what is on the front cover of a magazine. I want you to pay attention to the headliners on your favorite newspapers, or online or offline, and look at the type of things that have attracted you to flick to that particular article. Or look at the headlines when you're flicking through online on your, on the phone, whatever newspaper or information site that you go to all the time. I want you to be really aware, what was it in the headlines that made you click? Okay, write them down, start keeping a library, because that is what you can use in your copy, in your title of your blog posts, in your email subject lines, okay, in your social media posts, in the title of your videos. So you can see here, 50 classic looks for spring. We can turn that around and change that to anything. 50 classic looks for website design in 2017. She's not here, but Margaret, who does a lot of digital marketing and website design, you could take something that is completely unrelated and say, okay, I like that idea, 50 classic looks. I'll make it 3 classic website design looks. See where I'm going with this? The 7 surprising career mistakes you should make. See, play on words. You go, oh, career mistakes that I should make. How could I use a little twist like that on my articles? So, the magazines that you find something that has attracted you on the front cover, and then you go on to the content page and look, what page is that article on? That's the one I want you to be aware of. Okay, how are we feeling so far? Is this good stuff for you? Are you inspired by content? I only need one yes or a no. Just checking in that I still have people there with me. Yes, a little hand, little something. Awesome. Thank you. So we've got Liz. Thanks, Rita. Yes. Sorry. Typing. Excellent. Okay. Case studies is another really good one, and I've taken this from Twitter. So they, especially when they started to introduce their advertising solution, they put up there a whole heap of case studies. Now, case studies, I don't want you, it's not just for big business. All I want you to think of a case study is, think of a client that has come to you with a challenge, you provided a solution, and then you're sharing the results. So just think of how many problems that you solve in your business, and then take it next step and think, well, how can I turn this into a case study piece of content? Can I reach out to this client and see if they would like to be involved to share some insights of, a little testimonial that you can incorporate into, rather than me saying what their challenge and solution, the results. Can I reach out to these people and see if I had a set of questions, Could it be coming from them? Could I say to them, would you be interested in guest blogging for us on our website? People love to be asked to do things like that. So lift your clients up. Asking anyone to be a guest blogger or, you know, write a guest article, what is the worst thing that could happen? If we never ask, the answer will always be no. So when I go into, when I teach anything around content or really anything around digital and social, I want you guys to think it does not always have to be you. You build these great relationships and great rapport. How can you engage and collaborate with another business or with your customers that have already, the work's already done because they've experienced your product or your service? So that would be a really great way to look at a case study as a piece of content. Now, this is something that something like a case study, this is something that you could say, okay, in the new financial year, 17-18, I would like to produce 4 case studies, or I would like to produce 1 annual case study a year. Okay, just align it to some type of a metric to keep accountable if that is something that you would like to do. Interviews is a good one. So I reached out to Moira Kelly, amazing, gifted saint of a woman, humanitarian. I was running some networking events for small businesses and it attracted the most amazing speakers. But instead of getting them to come up in front of the room to present with a PowerPoint, I sat with them and did it just like a chat. I interviewed them. But the way I took it next level is I put a camera in front of us. And this now still has legs today. Now, this screenshot was taken some time ago, but that room only had 30 people in there, but it's been shared now maybe 500 times. 500 people saw her message. This is content. Now, I also took this next level, and because I did the video, you can go next level and transcribe it, and then you can have a blog post in a written form. So it took me a while. So I was running these for some time without a video. I was doing them for the live audience, but not recording it. Until I did this, and it worked so well, and you can't recreate it once it's done. So video is doing interviews with your customers or with your local community. Putting it into a plan is a really great way to be able to do to generate content as well. And the great thing, I guess the key point here with videos or doing interview videos is that it can be, you can give it life in so many other formats. For example, I had images, you know, I had photos that I could share from this event and this interview. I had the video that I could share from this interview. I created a blog around what I learned from Moira around. So it's an action that was done once, but gave me about 5 different ways of sharing it in different types and different formats. The content formula. So a formula that I want you to think about, okay? I want you to start with, so I've just shared with you around 5 to 7 different types of content. I want you to choose only one of those, only one. So I don't want you to choose all. I don't want you to choose 3. I want you to choose one. Is it going to be a blog? Is it going to be a video? Is it going to be a case study? Is it going to be an interview with clients? I want you to choose one. Then I want you to choose one main platform. Now, for those of you that already have websites up and running and kicking, I would ideally like the original one main piece of content and the content type that you choose to be sitting on your website. But if you want to do a video, by all means, choose YouTube. I want you to choose one type. So if you've chosen video, Your one main platform may be YouTube. Not a problem with that, okay? But just choose one of those. Your one type of content could be a blog post. Your one main platform, if you don't have a website, might be your LinkedIn page. Do you follow what I mean with this? So I want you to choose one content type plus one platform. Then I want you to stipulate, and I want you to remain accountable to how often you are going to consistently deliver. And this is where I want you to write next to this, what am I committing to? One a week, one a fortnight, one a month, one a bi-monthly, one quarterly, okay? Because whatever you commit to, you must then consistently deliver. And last but not least, whatever comes out in the top 3, I want over a minimum, I want this done over a minimum of 6 months. So if you choose to do it weekly, I want you to do it weekly for 6 months. If you choose to do it monthly, I want you to choose whatever the content type is to do it every month. So you would have 6 blogs or 6 videos or 6 interviews or 6 infographics. Okay? Is everybody up for that? Excellent. Any questions, comments, please, you know where to hit that, where to send that. I'm just checking in. So one content type, one main platform, consistent delivery, and a minimum of 6 months. Okay? Why does this matter? Because remember, all paths lead to the heart center of your business. This matters because we want to create a heart-throbbing, heart-pulsing, a heart-connected, multi-purpose website that always gives us an opportunity to use these vehicles to create pathways to purchase. Okay, we will all want to create pathways to something that's meaningful and provides solutions to our customers' problems and challenges and serves them. So this matters because we want to build, remember the word build, we want to build our own asset. We want to build our own real estate online, and we want to use our rented space as pathways back to our heart center, our website. That's why this matters. So 3 principles in writing effective online copy. We can't do content without talking about copy in terms of what you write and how you write it to engage without being salesy and being serving, okay? So 3 effective online copy, 3 effective principles is that serve the reader, not the writer. Serve them. It's not about me, me, me. Always be thinking about them. How is this benefiting the reader? How is this valuable to the reader? What are the key things that the reader will take away from this? Okay, serve them, not pumping our own tires up, pumping them up. Putting the reader into it. Now the reader that we want, the way that we want to always be thinking and asking that question, am I bringing the reader into this, or have I just gone solo and excluded the reader? We want to always be keeping ourselves accountable, that we're leaving ourselves open and engaging and bringing the reader into it. A way to do that, and a fantastic principle to be able to do that, is to use the word you, Y-O-U, more than you use us or we. Okay, here's an example. Before this was taught to me, this is what my copy looked like. The old Institute of Excellence homepage. Institute of Excellence works with small business marketing professionals and aspiring leaders striving for excellence to create something revolutionary. We offer you training experiences, not just program. Our training programs are facilitated by we specifically tailor, okay? So I've used we, our, and we. Nowhere have I said you. Reading this, nowhere am I really bringing the reader into it. Once I was taught to flip the ratio and use you more than we and our. Here's my second try. You value your business and you value striving for excellence in all you do. There are many reasons why you started working for yourself, your organization or agency. Maybe it was a job you loathed or a deep-seated desire to fulfill a childhood dream. Different? Better? Is this more am I connecting more to my audience? I feel it. As soon as I made that small little shift in my copy and the way I wrote, I felt it. I felt it, and I knew it sat a lot better with me. And this is where I like to talk about this whole theory of compassion-based marketing. Which should you prefer? I mean, I'm just going to guess. You can resonate a lot more bringing in that you. So I'd like you to think about this as so different. Love it. Thank you, Narita. So did I. I felt it. Like I said, as soon as I flipped it around, and then better copy came out of me. A better way to describe it came out of me when I thought, how can I say you? It came out in a more authentic way that I actually really do give a you-know-what about my customers, whereas before I knew it wasn't sitting with me. I was almost trying to be something I'm not. I'm trying to be this big organization and be corporate-y when that is not what I am and that is not who I'm serving. So it's all a work in progress in our own development, I guess, in getting comfortable in our own ability to share openly. So I hope you can go back and do a little audit of your copy, doing an audit of your copy. Remember we said last week about treating every piece of copy that you are presenting in a different way. So I will, so that's the old copy. Let me just see. So you are the media. You are the media here. This is what I want. You are the magazine. You are the TV show. You are the newspaper. You are your own media. That is what we're creating here. So 3 reasons why every organization must create content. These are my 3. I say must. Must, it's a strong word, but I do actually believe that every organization must start stepping up to this and sharing more around their why and serving customers in a different way. It gives you as an individual and as a professional and your website credibility. Reason number 1, keeps your website current, and it keeps your website loaded with shareable info. Good for your customer, good for business, good for the greater good of your industry, very, very good for your search engine optimization, because Google, when your ideal visitor is going in and typing in the question that they want answered, or they're typing in their search term, you will have greater chances of serving up your website and your solution if you are keeping consistent with keeping your website information current and shareable. Opportunity to further connect with content that matters to your audience. So this, again, an opportunity to further connect. Most importantly, this gives you an opportunity to lead the way. Okay? So when it comes to your content marketing strategy, and this is something that will be in your workbook, what does my customer want? Okay, I've left, if you can answer 12 things of what your customer wants, seriously, you've got 12 blog posts in the can. There's your 12 titles. If you just focus on that question alone and you focus on 12 of those and you want to commit to blogging 12 for the next 12 months, once a month, just by answering these questions, you will have 12 blog post titles that you can work with to start building out. Defining your goals. What do I want? I want to lead. I want to inspire. I want to educate. I want to create call to actions to build my email database. I want to build my YouTube channel. I want to get more bums on seats onto my tours, into my accommodation. I want to get more volunteers. What do I want? So we have to be very clear on the end game here. With anything that we talk about, particularly with your content, I want you to really think about what does success look like here? What's something that I can measure? And the way I do this with what I want when I create a blog post, I create something that's called a social stamp. So whatever it is, so it's almost like I start with the end in mind. So I think about what I want to achieve, how I want to serve, but I think of the call to action that I want to attract before I produce the article. So for example, when I was building out this course and I wanted to attract people to come and join you and me for this 6-week training, I knew that was the call to action at the end of the blog post that I wrote. And then I worked backwards and reverse engineered to say, well, if I want to get more people to sign up for this program, and that's what the call to action will be, what is something that's highly valuable that I can share in a blog post or I can share in a video that they will say, oh, geez, if she's sharing this for free, imagine if I paid her what she could possibly share. See where I'm going with this? You're doing this, you're investing your time, your love, your work, your passion. This takes time, but you must. We're in business. You must align it with a call to action. Okay? Setting it up. Who's going to create this? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be a partner? Is it going to be a staff member? Is it going to be one of your customers? You have to put a who. The what type of content you will create. You've already discovered that in the formula. How often you will create it. Where will you engage and share it? Very important in step number 3. Step number 4 is all aligned with your execution. Okay, so if I want to blog, I've chosen blog post to be my type of content, and I want to do it every month. So now I think, okay, if I want to do it every month, what is the date that I will have to have a draft, at least a draft ready? Okay, what type of graphics will I need? Who's someone that I can trust, that I can give to proofread and do any edits that I need? For me, it's my husband. He's the only one that I've got access to that it can do that. So it doesn't, if you're flying solo like I do, I want you to think about these things when you're executing your pieces of work, because you still want to produce quality, okay? So think about a date that the draft is due, and I add these in my Outlook calendar. Think about graphics that you need to create. So if it's on your website, will you need to create some type of a visual and a graphic to go with your blog post? Who's going to edit? Who's going to proofread? The more the merrier. You're going to have one person, you're going to have 3 people, okay? What are the platforms you're going to share this on? For me, I will write a blog post, but I will also repurpose that blog post on my LinkedIn page as an article. And I have a social stamp to drive traffic back to my website. I use that as a vehicle. It's sat on my website first and foremost. That's where it's sat, but I will repurpose. It's my own work. I will copy and paste it on LinkedIn, but guess what? Just like I shared with you earlier, I will go in there and say, this was originally written for instituteofexcellence.com. And then I could create a call to action there. For more articles like this, sign up to our weekly newsletter. Boom. Now I've got a call to action and I've attracted someone new from my LinkedIn community that doesn't go to my website, that isn't a subscriber to my email newsletter, and they don't do Facebook. Okay, so we want to create these different audiences and bring them in, bring different eyeballs to wherever they're hanging out. And date that you're going to publish it. If it doesn't get scheduled, it will not get done. So for example, last month I ran a Mother's Day campaign for a client. It was very important I had these things set, because it was really important that I had the blog post published 2 weeks before Mother's Day to run this campaign. So if I didn't have that in the schedule or be working towards that, hello, suddenly it's Mother's Day, it's come and gone, go, oh, I really should have done something around Mother's Day. See what I mean? So execution is very, very, very important. Now, what do we have here? 5 different approaches to your content creation. So we talked about creating a set of interview questions. So I actually come up with the interview questions, and I've shared interview questions with you just to get an insight into who your customer is. What a great way to create some content using those. Video testimonials that you can transcribe into blog posts. Solutions-based case studies. Community events calendar. So what's happening in your community that you can give some love and share onto your website or onto your social media platforms. A survey or a questionnaire. Now this, done well, can be a bit of a game changer. So like I said, if you want to do a survey around, yeah, I don't know, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but say, I use the example of Google, okay? Think with Google. They do these massive surveys from their users. So sometimes it's like 5,000 Google users, sometimes it's 2,000. But I love it because it's fantastic, because they can go in there and create valuable content to the audience that they serve. At the end of the day, they're selling advertising to businesses. So by surveying the very people that these businesses like us want to attract, they dish out these amazing free surveys and reports. And I always think, oh, how could I produce that? So I did that for a wedding organization that I did some work for. So I thought, so to really give them a valuable piece of content. Now there's plenty of people that I know that have been married or are getting married. So I put out a SurveyMonkey questionnaire around the wedding industry, and I created my own survey through this questionnaire. I probably had about 30 responses, but it was enough to gain some good metrics around where people went to search for wedding inspiration. Okay, so it really helped my case with some factual data around why it was important to take social media seriously in the wedding industry. Does that make sense? So I just hope your little minds are bubbling with how could I make sense of this in my business and in my industry. Create it, curate it, share it, and they will come. Okay, so this is all about getting into our right brain hemisphere and getting creative. If we don't create it, ways we can curate it and repurpose it and share it, and that will attract new audiences and keep existing audiences coming back to us for more. Here I've got what a typical kind of content plan could look like. This is more related to what your social media plan could look like. So for example, if I wanted to share 3 pieces of content back to my website from my Facebook page, I could go and just create something like this that I could say, okay, for the next 8 weeks, in week 1, I'm going to promote my stay and play package. In the second post that I want to drive traffic to is the business event that we're going to be exhibiting at. And then the third piece of content for my website that I want to drive traffic to is the latest customer testimonial page. How much will your life be easier if you took the time to plan something like this out? And we'll talk more about that in our in our social media module, which I think is next week. I'm pretty sure it's next week. So I've got a blank copy here for you to do your own little brainstorming, because this is the thing that when the content creation in your business makes up the 80% of the value proposition you offer to your audience. The 20% is the promotional, is the 20% is what you actually sell. But we have to kind of come into these things with the giver's gain mindset. When it comes to media, I want you, again, I go back to the magazine theory. You're flicking the page, and it's value. Oh, commercial, advertising, value. Even on your favorite TV show. It's valuable content that keeps you there and engaged. Boom. Then the network or the magazine and you as a business, then you've earned the right to go and promote something. Okay, but we don't want to be infomercials. So as we start wrapping up, some tools to win. Now, a lot of you may have a massive library of copy-free images. For those of you that might not have the privilege of having a library of images at your disposal, or the resources to subscribe to the paid ones, here are some free image sources that you can use in your content creation. Okay, free design sources. My favorite design tool is Canva. canva.com. Here's another one, but this is my go-to for everything. Here I've given you a bit of a step-by-step as to how you can custom design even the content around your Facebook cover. Okay, so this is something that is also content and is also part of your visual real estate that I want you to always be producing. But here, this is more so in the context of creating content for a blog post or for your website. You can come in here and do beautifully presented and designed that you can custom to your title and your website through your images and the copy and the text that you use by using this tool called Canva. The best way for you to have a place, here we go. Look at this. These are covers that you could also use as website headers. So I want you to go in here as part of your homework again. Just go in if you haven't. Does anyone, are you familiar with Canva? I should ask. Love it? Let me know. If this is the first time you're hearing of it, it's just such a life changer. I absolutely love it and I use it all the time for different things. So this is, it's very easy to create really lovely professionally looking designs for your website. Here I've also got some apps that you may want to consider. So some free apps. Word Swag is one of them. So this is when you want to create visual content, and we'll go into more about this in our social media. So when you've got an image and you want to overlay it with some text or a quote, or you have a testimonial and you want to repurpose that so you have it as a text, but you also want to create an image with a testimonial on the photo, Word Swag is a really great way to do that. Legend creates little GIFs. It's an app that creates a video content of quotes or text on photos. Here's another one, Typorama. Now all of these, some of these are free, some of these cost like a couple of dollars, but there's nothing that's over $10. Intro Designer is fantastic for video creation. We'll probably need, I might leave a little bit of time if I can to show you some more around this on our social media training. So Intro Designer is a go-to tool. Again, it's an app that you can download and you can create awesome video intros to your video. So say, for example, I've done a little video with a client testimonial. I can add a little intro at the start of it saying what our customers say or introducing them. Again, these will really pop if you take the time to download them in your app stores. So this one, some of them are iPhone and iOS only, but I have gone in and found some Android specific apps for you to play with as well if you don't have iPhone. And there's iMovie, that's my go-to editing for video content, my video editor. But for Android, it's literally, the app is called Video Editor. So your future customer is saying to you, when you're creating content, don't tell me who you are, tell me why you matter to me. Another good one to keep us thinking about them. Why should we matter to them? Okay, why should we matter to them? So some key takeaways as we start to wrap up, and I'd like to leave a little bit of time for Q&A. Have a goal, be clear on what you most want to achieve from your content creation. Have a plan. I can't stress that enough. If it doesn't get scheduled, it won't get done. So plan your content and schedule your outcomes to save you time and headache and heartache, and have a plan, have a strategy. So around your content creation, remember that formula. Choose one type for now. Choose one platform and choose what is going to, your time limit is as to what will keep you consistent. Okay, if you don't promote yourself, something awful will happen. Nothing. That is my favorite quote of all time. There's always a better way. I put this in here to remind you that trial, test, measure, but don't dump something. If you've written your first blog post and it hasn't had any love, you're 6 months minimum. I cannot take any, you know, if there's a better way of doing something, and there is always a better way of doing something, make the call to stop it and do something else after you've given it a minimum 6 months good hot go. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today. How are we feeling? Any key highlights? Any valuable parts of the training? Any insights, aha moments? What was your favorite one thing? So I would love to hear from you. Did you enjoy that? Did it give you a different perspective, maybe? I'd love to hear from you all. Do you have any questions for me around anything that was just shared? Favorite for Narita was interviews as content. Excellent. So there's so much we can do with interviews. I'm so glad. So that was a favorite of Narita. Anyone else, or any questions or insights? Lots to do, but given ideas and also validated some of the latest blog and news we have been working on. Fantastic. I love that, Joe. So Joe's saying, well, this is some stuff that we've been working on and this is validating it to keep going. Please do. So now we just really want to put some deadlines around these and treat ourselves like that, you know, the Harper's Bazaar of our business and our magazine. Excellent. That's great, Joe. So if we're not, if there's no more questions or insights, we might leave it a little bit, getting good, grounding, but feel but feel a hill to climb. Getting a good grounding, but feel a hill to climb. Start with one. I hear you, Vanessa. So getting a good grounding, but feel a hill to climb. Here for you, absolutely. We just want to start mapping this out, okay? At least at the very beginning, I'm going to give you a workbook that has a template for your next 12 months and what that can look like. And at the very least, if you can start to feel start to at least start putting these thoughts down onto paper and start formulating a plan with working on the workbook that you will get with a follow-up of this training, that will be a good start. And, these hills can only be climbed with one foot after the other and one step at a time. So I certainly, I'm not even halfway of my hill. So we're all in this together. It's what I wanted to share with you. But at least now we have a bit of a grounding. Narita is saying, I hear you too, Vanessa. It seems a little overwhelming, but I think one thing at a time is a great approach. Thanks, Despina. My absolute pleasure. Please. Because sometimes, and I am the worst at this, and I had to really strip it down only last week to say, you know what, I want to do everything, because it's almost like you know too much, but you will only, every successful business and marketer, they only get really good at nailing and doing one thing really well first. So we're definitely all in this together. So one thing at a time approach. Let me know, reach out. If any of you write, publish, create anything over the next 6 weeks, I will be your raving fan and I will share it from the rooftops. So I will definitely reward any action that's taken from all of your learnings, whether it's this week or even, 3 months after the training. I please, if you create anything, ping me, tag me, email me. I would love to help you give it extra wings and help it fly further and share it to my people too. Okay. Any other questions? I think that's a wrap. I don't have anything else here. Thank you to those of you who have joined us live. Thank you to those of you who are watching the replay. Reach out and yeah, let's get creating. So yeah, I think if I allowed a little bit more time for Q&A today, because we seem to be a bit rushed on the other ones, but now we're just going to go and have an early afternoon tea or coffee or a late lunch if you haven't had lunch yet. So if you're all feeling good about things, I would just like to thank you for your time, and I will see you same time, same place next week to talk more decoding digital gold with you. Okay, stay in touch and I will be sure to send you your links with all your resources in the next 24 hours. Okay, thank you again. Okay, thank you. See you next week, guys. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Narita. And thank you, Joe. Okay, here's to your excellence today and every single day. All right, see you next week. Bye.